Hello, Emanuel Shahaf.
Hello, hello.
Identity, the quest for Israel future. We're conducting this interview, this monthly report in the days of memorial for the Jewish Holocaust and your feelings towards the past, towards the future.
I think what is striking is the disparity between what we expend on memories and remembering and memorials of the past and what we do for the future. There's very little effort put into peace movements and efforts to find an arrangement with the Palestinians here. There's an enormous effort put into memorials and to remembering, which is of course needed, important, and it's good that we do that. But we should also expend time and money and effort to work towards the future, and that we are not doing. Okay, it's very unfortunate because there's a general effort at denial. The state of Israel is pretty much in denial about the future. Doesn't want to deal with it because whatever dealing with it means, make decisions, and these decisions are going to be divisive. And why shall we do this if we don't have to? Okay, so for the time being, we're just standing there, or we're just moving along, muddling through, dealing with crises as they arise. They do, frequently enough. And Israel is becoming unstable as a result. We already have our political instability, which resulted in four elections in a 2-year period. We have a relatively unstable government at the present, and also the country is not stable because we have events coming up every time there's a Muslim holiday or Palestinian national holiday or whatever, some event which causes an uprising here or there.
Everything seems to be so fragile.
Everything is fragile. Everything is fragile, and we will not get rid of this fragility unless we deal with the future. And dealing with the future means sitting on it, making decisions, difficult as they may be.
Do you think that, from what you're hearing, there is right now a current partner in the Palestinian government, the Palestinian side, that might look into the one-state solution, the federation solution?
I participated in a Zoom talk with a senior member of Ashraf, of the PLO, several days ago, and the impression is that they are in denial just as we are in denial. Okay, to the extent that they very much want a solution, but they want the two-state solution, which is clearly not on the agenda anymore, and Israel isn't talking about the two-state solution anyway, and the Palestinians are stuck on the two-state solution. They're not willing to discuss alternatives to the two-state solution.
The official
Palestinians. The official Palestinians. Obviously, incidentally, the Palestinian public is much more open to alternatives. There was a poll a few days ago that indicated that 1/3 of the Palestinians are in favor of a one-state solution, and 40-something% are still in favor of the two-state solution. But the Palestinian public is more open-minded, which is usually the case. The public is much ahead of the leadership. Also in Israel, I think that would probably be the case.
And you're talking about a poll in the Palestinian side. There's also a poll that is being reflected towards the Jewish community, of the millennials.
Yes, there's an interesting poll for the American Jewish Congress of millennials, which is the age group at 15 to 40, important age group. The less positive side of that poll is that less than a quarter of Israeli Jews believe that there's a solution to the conflict with the Palestinians. On the positive side, at least from the Federation point of view, almost a quarter of the American Jews are in favor of a one-state binational solution. Unfortunately, it's only 5% on the Israeli side. But there's a lot of room there between the 20, almost a quarter, and those 5% to improve the situation in Israel.
To create an arbitrage.
To create an arbitrage, yes. And it's good to know that American Jews are supportive, and we'll work on that.
You know, you're talking about the Palestinian government and about the Israeli government that are part of looking over the past instead of the future, creating hope. What do you think about the left wing in Israel? Do you think that you're finding their practical partners regarding the identity, the quest for Israel future from your meetings?
The left wing is actually functionally disabled.
Wow.
It's functionally disabled. It's dithering around because it doesn't have a plan. Okay, it used to have a plan. The plan it was Oslo. Then it was two states. But now, two states is not a real plan, and I think the left is aware of it. It doesn't verbalize it. You don't hear from the left declarations the two-state solution is over. But there's a lack of engagement in favor of the two-state solution. There's an engagement to try to make peace, to develop the talks, and so on and so forth. But very, very few members of the left, definitely not those who are close to the centers of power, say we have to work on the two-state solution. We have to work on the two-state solution because I think there is an awareness that time has passed, and nobody's coming up with an alternative, or people are afraid to come with alternatives.
For instance, as the alternative of the federation, of
the federation, yes, because the change in paradigm from the two-state solution to a one-state solution is a very scary change. The left always verbalizes it as the end of Zionism, at the end of the Jewish state.
And what would you answer?
And it's not. It's not. It's things are in reality things are much more complicated than that. And I think that it's the natural step into the future is to make Israel into a binational, equal country, state, and in the federation.
You're talking about the left wing and their ability to create a different paradigm of solution. Two very interesting articles published in Haaretz, one of them by Chaim Levinson.
Yes.
Only power?
Only by force, yes.
This is the only thing that we are understanding?
Yes, we don't understand anything else. It's obvious that, if you look at the Temple Mount, what's happening on Temple Mount, if all the Muslims who would pray on the Mount would be very calm and very peaceful, and all they would do would pray and welcome Jews who go on the mountain, we would have changed the status quo long ago.
It means that what would happen if Israel would change?
If Israel would change the status quo, that would cause an uproar in the whole Muslim world and would probably cause either war or a lot of unrest that we will have difficulty handling it. So when Israel doesn't change the status quo, it only does that because force is being applied. And this has been our history, at least in the conflict with the Palestinians. We don't do anything unless force is being applied, and we have to wean ourselves of this, unfortunately.
And we were talking about the Holy Temple, Jerusalem.
Yes.
Bet Michael is writing a very interesting article regarding that.
And that he sees the danger in the combination of force of state and religion. And that is a real danger. Okay, it's one thing to have religious authorities proclaim and do things. It's another thing to have them do so in conjunction with the state. It's a lethal combination, and we have to separate religion from state. In order to prevent that from happening, because it's going to cause terrible unrest if we don't separate the two.
We're finalizing always with some good news. What would be the good news that you would like to share?
The good news, I think the good news is, the results from the poll with the AGC poll that said that almost a quarter of American Jews are in favor of a binational one-state solution here. The Israeli Jews are unfortunately only 5%, but we have to work on that, and we will.
Emanuel Shahaf, identity, the quest for Israel's future, people that want to be part of the community, want to discuss and be part of lectures, of meetings, of Zooms, of the ideas of your book, the Federation. Where can you find?
Facebook on the Federation movement, Identity, the Quest for Israel's Future, Emanuel Shahaf. I'm there.
Thank you very, very much, and we're meaning only respectful remarks.
Preferably.
Exactly. Emanuel Shahaf, thank you.
Thank you.